Hello and welcome to MB Discussions, where we got your top pick from last week's top headlines in the MB Rundown. And today we will make sure that by the end of this episode, you will be fully informed. So what's the real deal with the sin tax reform and why is it suddenly changing when the 2012 reform hasn't even been completely rolled out yet? First, let us take a look at the stakeholders for House Bill 4144. On one hand, we have the National Federation of Tobacco Farmers that calls the House bill a true pro-farmers and pro-poor measure. They emphasize that their biggest concern is the fate of the country's tobacco farmers and their continued livelihoods, saying, foreign companies will just import more premium tobacco leaves. On the other hand, we have the DOF that says 15% of the revenue proceeds from the 2012 reform have been allocated through the LGUs for the local tobacco farmers to receive, where there was a total of 5.6 billion pesos worth of revenues in 2014 and 10.7 billion pesos worth of revenues in 2015. The DOF also indicated that there is a decrease in tobacco imports and an increase in the production and hectares of land of local tobacco farmers, which possibly translates from the 2012 reform. But if we take a look at the numbers, we would see that back in 2014, there's a total of 37.7% of imports of unmanufactured tobacco from other countries. And in 2015, we would see that it decreased down to 22.7%. which will indicate our dependence on local tobacco materials. That's good news. The DOF, on the other hand, is also wary that this House bill will only promote the downshifting of cigarette users to cheaper cigarette brands, which defeats the purpose of the law itself. This trend has already been apparent where 45% of smokers already shifted to cheaper cigarette brands when the prices increased. So, where do we bridge the gap, guys? Let's take a look at what you guys think. So from our first Twitter user, we have Mr. Smart09 saying that we should take care of our local industry and our farmers first. Higher taxes just means more money in the pockets of politicians. Our second Twitter user is Archon Digital, who says that change is scamming. Congress is railroading House Bill 4144 to undo the Sin Tax Reform Act. And from our third Twitter user, we have Dave Gilas, who says that, I don't understand all this hullabaloo about HB 4144. The current sin tax law isn't making substantial changes in reducing tobacco consumption. But if we look at it in the bigger picture of the health and mortality rate of Filipinos, we could see that there are a number of efforts from the government to curb the number of smokers. And these includes, first, Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003, where the government regulates the sale and advertisement of tobacco products, where if you compare the cigarette packaging today from a few years ago, you could see that the images now are more explicit, which discourages a lot of smokers from smoking. Of course. The law also protects non-smokers from secondhand smoking by designating smoking and non-smoking areas indoors. And of course, there is a law that's waiting to be signed by President Duterte, banning smoking in public places, including parks, bus stations, and vehicles. Should this law be passed, it would be among the strictest non-smoking laws in Southeast Asia, which is home to nearly 10% of the world's smokers. And we have more numbers coming our way because according to the Global Adult Tobacco Survey that was released back in 2009, 17.3 million Filipino adults aged 15 years and above are tobacco smokers. That composes 28.3% of our population. And according to the 2015 National Nutrition Survey, it reports that there are 4 million less smokers in the Philippines due to the sin tax law because it has prevented new people from smoking. These numbers also translate to at least 40,000 deaths that have been averted. And we will see in this chart that there is a huge difference in the number of current smokers, where there's a 5.6% decrease in the number of smokers from 2008 to 2013. And that's it for MB Discussions. We are here to keep you fully informed, and I'll see you guys again this Friday on the rundown of this week's top headlines. I'll see you